Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So we're going to talk iPhone XS Max. This has probably got to be one of the easiest reviews I've ever done. This phone is just the basic iPhone. It's what iPhone lovers love, if you will. The only new thing is that we're getting a much bigger screen, and there's also going to be the XR, which is going to be bigger than the current offerings of the XS and the all the other ones going down. But the iPhone XS Max, and I say it's an easy one to review because it's much of the same, but that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited that I grabbed the iPhone XS Max because I was actually going to skip it and get the XR first. But I'm glad I got this out of my system with the iPhone XS Max. The 6.5-inch display is good. Now, obviously, you're not getting all of that display at your disposal, but you get it when you're viewing certain things and content like that. And there's a cutout at the top that is, it's there, and you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And people say that they hate it, but the majority of the iPhone clones that are coming out, which are Android phones, have it, like all different kinds, all different sizes. So, the iPhone XS Max for viewing content is fantastic. The stereo speakers on this thing is actually really good. A lot of people will review a phone and tell you over and over about the specs of like waterproofing and wireless charging. We know it has those things, but how is it in daily use? And that is the way I like to review a phone. So, my battery time is pretty impressive, man. According to Apple standards, I'm getting like between 8, 9, 10 and a half hours of screen on time. One time it said 11 and a half or 12. And I had been off the charger for a long time. It was like over a day, about a day and a half. And what makes the iPhone's battery life really good is the standby time. The standby time is something that a lot of phones they're just not good at. The resources that are being used kill the battery off while the phone is just idle. You ever been watching that review and the battery is just dying slowly while you're watching like a 10-minute review and the battery drops like 5%? Or 10%. You ever seen something like that? I have. But I've also seen videos of phones where the battery moves like 1% in like a 20 or 30-minute window, which is actually pretty good when you think about it. So, battery life for the iPhone XS Max, it's been fantastic for me. I just don't have a problem with it. And who wouldn't enjoy good battery? But, the screen, the battery, all those things are great, man. And, it's a heavy phone for me though. You know what I'm saying? I like a big phone. I like a big screen. But if it's too heavy, an iPhone XS Max, it's a heavy phone, man. And then when I put my case on, it feels even more weighty. And that's a con for me. But it's not something that is a bad thing. That weight, the stainless steel, the glass, you're gonna have some weight with it. You know what I mean? So that's just something that going into it. You know what I mean? So yeah, the screen, the battery, the stereo speakers are all good. Media content. What I like most about using an iPhone is the social media experience. I like the way I share stuff on iOS. I like how I can snag things off the internet, like something as simple as saving a picture. I don't know. I just like the way it's done on an iPhone. And that's not to say that Android does it in a bad way. I just like it a little bit better the way it's done on iOS. And the flip side of that is though, with Android, I can do more with the sharing. With Apple, I'm kind of limited, or iOS, I'm kind of limited on how I can share or what I can share. But on Android, I can share everything. I can pretty much do anything I want with when I click share. I mean, literally. Something that I don't like about iOS is Bluetooth sharing. It's like it doesn't even want you to do it. Of all the phones I have, all the iPhones always either fail or just can't do it with Bluetooth sharing. With Android, if I want to hold two phones together with NFC, boom, it's done. And even if I transfer over Bluetooth, same thing, it's really fast. But every phone has something good and bad about it. Overall, my experience with the iPhone XS Max has been positive. I said in another video that the iPhone XS Max is a phone that can actually probably convert some Android users. This is true because it remains to be seen. There's a lot of people out there that are switching to iPhones now, and I think it's because of the iPhone XS Max. I mean, it's a big iPhone. That's what it is. It's just call it like what it is. It's not like they took advantage of the screen by offering split screen. Some people say that's not multitasking. even if it's not multitasking, offer it. You know what I'm saying? That you can't deny that split screen can be used in a functional way. Because a lot of times, I'll have like YouTube at the top. In most situations, this is how I use YouTube or use split screen. I have a video playing at the top that I want to watch of somebody. And then I'll have Twitter or email or something at the bottom. And that's just a huge plus to having a split screen option. And I like it on my iPad Pro. I like how it does. I can drop things. I can have two things side by side on my iPad 10.5 Pro, and I could drag and hold it with my finger, just drop it over to the next screen and drop it right in, and that's clean right there. And I'm not saying you can't do that on Android or you can't do certain things. And it has really nothing to do with Android when it comes to that aspect. I just like how it's done on iOS. I like how it's done. So it's just a matter of preference. You know what I'm saying? I'll always have an iPhone. Whether I use it as my main phone or not, I always have an iPhone. I've always had an iPhone. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the XS Max is intriguing because it's a big iPhone. And it's a smaller in size than the 8 Plus by a hair, or just about the same as an 8 Plus in size, but it's just a full screen view. That's what it is. And but you know what though, if I'm being 100% honest, I still like the 8 Plus. You know what I'm saying? I think the 8 Plus is just still fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when people ask me about switching to the XS Max, I'll give them my honest opinion of what they should do. I'm always going to tell you not to buy it if you don't need it. But, the XS Max is intriguing, and I can see why the 7 Plus, the 6S Plus, the 8 Plus, those people will want to go to the XS Max. And I would recommend it for those people who really want to switch and want to keep that big phone feel. The XS Max is definitely for you. I mean, simple things, like I said, I could go over all the specs and all that thing, but that's not how you use your phone. You don't walk around announcing all of your specs. IP68, you don't walk around doing that. You know what I'm saying? You just use your phone, and that's just what it is. So that's why I said this is an easy review for me, because nothing has changed really. Like, iOS 12 is boss though, but overall experience is the same. And for me it is, and that's not a bad thing. If it's working, don't mess with it. But at the same time, you got to start giving some stuff up. Speaking of which, it's been addressed a bunch of times, and if you just want me to go on record and say it again, I'll do it. It doesn't make it okay that you pay $1,300 for this phone, that I paid $1,300 for this phone, and then I don't even have a fast charging brick in there. It doesn't make it okay. Even though I don't use this dongle thing, it doesn't make it okay that they keep taking stuff away. Like, that's the bad part. And about using an iPhone, it seems like they just keep taking everything away. And that's all they're going to keep doing, is just taking it away. And it's not because they're getting away with something, because I was watching a stream where Floss was on there. Shout out to my man Floss. And he said something that was important. He was like, you guys are in control. He's like, you're in control. No one's controlling YouTube but the people watching YouTube. If you don't, verbatim, he quoted him, he said, if y'all don't watch YouTube, my channel's nothing. And that's exactly how I feel. And that's probably how every YouTuber feels. But they might not be man enough to say it, but I could say it. Floss said it. Plenty of people have said it. Some people don't even want to talk about that. They want to keep you away from the fact that they're making money off of you with views. That's what it is. But nonetheless, I say that to say, if you don't buy the product, then Apple is going to drop off. This is simple math. But Apple has learned in Marketing 101 just to trigger those thoughts in your head that I'm going to make you want this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give it to you real good, then I'm going to start jacking the price up. And unfortunately, this is happening not just with Apple. It's happening with a lot of companies, man. And some of those companies are falling off. They can't do the same thing because their products they don't hold the same type of value. Like, if you buy an iPhone, even the average consumer knows this. Now, I'm going to say this. Even the average consumer knows that if they buy an iPhone, they're going to get the changes. They might call them changes. And they might not call them software updates, but they might call them, I'm going to get the change. They're going to add on that thing, make it do this. Even they know that they're going to get those new updates for at least 4 to 5 years. They're looking for it every year. Something goes wrong, they know that Apple's going to fix it. Not so much with other OEMs, man. So, the iPhone XS Max, It's a hot device. You know what I mean? Can I recommend it? I could recommend it to iPhone users that are already on the iPhone ecosystem, or the Apple's ecosystem, or I could recommend it to people who are on Android who are just sick of Android, but you still want a big phone and you want it to just work for you, and you want to get a great app selection. I mean, Apple's Apple App Store is ridiculously good. There's something in there. While you do have to pay for a lot more things in the Apple Store than you do Android, it's worth it to me. You know what I'm saying? I've purchased so many movies from Android and Apple. Like, I'm buying on both sides, so I'm sticking with both. But I was even heavily invested in the BlackBerry world. Oh man, I lost all that stuff when they decided to bail on me. I was pretty perturbed about that, but to be honest. But nonetheless, it's a matter of, are you willing to go ahead and get involved with them, or are you not? For those that don't like the iPhones, period, or you don't like Apple's business practices, all I can tell you is just avoid them. Don't even give them any attention at all. Don't worry about what Apple's doing, because I think one thing remains to be true is that Android users know more about iPhones and stuff than iPhone users. Makes no sense. It's your man Jay, man. Smartphoneconversations.com. Be sure to hit that up. It's just talking. That's it. The iPhone XS Max is a unique device, and I think it's going to be around. The next iteration is what I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for them to slim out the phone, make it a little bit more narrow, like Galaxy Note size. I really like the size and feel of the Galaxy Note line. The newer ones, the 8 and the 9, and the S9, I like them. Those have grown on me, you know what I'm saying? So S9 Plus, I like the feel of those. Very easy to handle with one hand, but the iPhone is a wider phone, you know what I'm saying? It's still big too, so I want them to slim down the next iteration of it next year, make it a little bit more narrow, and I think I'll be really happy with it, you know what I'm saying? Am I sold on using an iPhone 24/7 yet as the only device? Probably not. I leave that to I gotta stick with the Android for the 24/7 stuff. But it's all good, man. I think the iPhone XS Max is a win. It's the downfalls obviously are the price. You thought I was gonna make this video and not talk about that. The price is horrible. It's horrible. There's no getting around it. It's horrible, and they're taking things away. It's a bad deal. So I would say to the person that wants to switch over to an iPhone or wants to get an iPhone, try not to be intrigued every year. And if you're going to go big and get it all if you can. Because an iPhone XS Max 512 will last you for at least 5 years. So you don't lose. After 2 years, that's when you start to recoup a little bit. That's when your value starts to kick in, because you start to get all of the same software updates. Actually, what about a year and a half, you getting all the same updates as everybody else. So, and you saving money, So all of those people with the older iPhones that are running iOS 12, you balling out of control. Go ahead and brush it off. Brush it off. It's your man Jay. I'll see you guys in another video. Remember, follow me on Mr. Darrell Williams everywhere on social media. And my car channel is 392 Silver Bullet. And that's like that for social media too. 392 Silver Bullet everywhere. And YouTube, Twitter, IG, and obviously, you're here already. So if you're not subbed to the channel, if you want to, it's free. You don't have to do anything. It don't cost you anything. If you don't, thanks for stopping by. It's your man Jay. I'm out.